Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Unbreakable Light with Glory, the podcast where we talk about depression, anxiety, PTSD, natural way, holistic way to always make you feel better. And here, Gloria Goldberg, the host and the creator of this beautiful podcast. So, good afternoon, everybody. I have a long time I didn't come here in the afternoon because I'm being busy with the Spanish community and I'm being very busy. But I said, you know what? I start my podcasting in English and I have to keep going in English too because I'm bilingual. So, here we are today. I'm coming with a very special show because my mission is always to help people to feel better. And for people that are just starting to know me or starting to listen to me, I want to tell you the story behind this podcast. I'm a survivor from a kidnap situation. I was held in captivity for 90 days in the dark when I was 25 years old. So today I'm 50. I'm very happy. I went through a lot and through the emotions, depression, anxiety, panic attacks, and PTSD. And year by year I work and try to feel better. So I finally find a lot of relief in my life doing my podcast because I met a lot of people that helped me to move on and I learn from them. And I find out that all these masters that come to my show, because I call it masters, that come to my show are the ones to help me and help others to feel better. And also some of the masters told me, you know what, Gloria, you also help me to heal because hear your story and help other people. We all together heal together. And I love that. So today I named this episode The River of Life because we're going to talk about something very special, very out of my, I would say, out of my topics, because I always talk about, tools like with therapists, coaches, and different stuff. Today, I bring you something like it's a device. And you guys say, device, how a device can help people with depression, how a device can help people with anxiety, how a device can help people with PTSD. And yes, there's a device out there. It's called Bemer. I'm gonna bring the experts in a very few minutes, but I'm gonna tell you what exactly I understand about the Bemer, and we're gonna go deeper into this subject with the experts. So let me put my phone on here because it close. Okay, so what is this Bemer is about? It's a revolutionary device called Bemer. This device helps to improve blood flow through the capillary network. It's also a patented electronic magnetic field that delivers a bio-rhythmically, I'm sorry if I don't pronounce that the right way because my accent, defined therapeutic signals that support vasomotion to promote the distribution of blood in your body. This device will help you with energy, less discomfort, more histamine, better sleep, better sport performance, stress reduction, and enhance nutrients and oxygen supply, waste disposal, muscle stimulation, vitality, and feeling younger. So when I saw this information, this device, I hear all the things that they do to your body without taking medication, without doing extra physical work, because a lot of people don't like to do a lot of extra physical work, like to do a lot of exercise, going to the gym. There's a lot of people, they don't like to do that, or there's some people that cannot do that, but also they're also looking the way to feel better in a very natural way. And what surprised me when I see the video of this device is like the United States of America have more than 50% of the people taking medications for any reason, for the reason what it is, but that we are the country that we take medications. So let's go into the deeper about this machine that it caused me a curiosity because it's natural and help to improve your blood flow. That's the one of the most important things for your body. So let's welcome to Holistic Zone, and let's welcome to Henry Scott and Monty Nico. Hi, how are
Hey, how are
you?
ya?
Welcome to Unbreakable Life with Glory, the podcast.
Hey,
Thank you.
thank you so much. Thanks for having us. And I thought you did a great job with the intro. We don't really have much to talk about, do we, Monty?
You did such a good job.
There you go.
Well, thank you so much about it. It's an honor to you guys have you here because I'm always looking for solutions, for tools, for people to feel better in a natural way and a holistic way. And you guys have that. So can you tell me before we go into the deepest of this device, Henry
Call me
and
Scott.
Scott Henry and Monty Nico, can you guys tell us who guys you are? Let's start with Monty. Monty, who are you?
I am a retired nurse. I was a nurse midwife most of my career, delivering babies. I'm also a retired lieutenant colonel from the Army. And I have been, as a nurse midwife, I was very much into natural deliveries and things like that, and have continued to think of things in a holistic way. I met Scott when I was recovering from knee surgery, and he gave me an opportunity to be able to recover in such a way that I didn't have to use medications and things like that for my recovery, as far as pain management and things like that is concerned. So I come from a traditional medical background with a more holistic slant to it.
Okay, and why you decide to go in more holistic way? What was your aha moment for you to say, you know what, I want to go in the natural round?
Well, I think as a nurse midwife, when I went to midwifery school, it was during the time when midwives were not necessarily the mainstream of practitioners. And so I hate to use the word, we were crunchy granola, but we were kind of like the hippie ladies who birthed babies and did Lamaze or the Bradley method, something that allowed the couple to be able to be totally involved in their birthing experience without the use of heavy medications, which was at that time fairly popular. So my aha was that I was helping people experience something that is so beautiful and so meaningful to them, and I wanted them to be able to experience it completely. And so that's where I have been. Unfortunately, the medical community has kind of come around a circle and has gotten more medical, if you will. And so even as a nurse midwife, I was getting into situations where the people with whom I was working wanted to do more medical interventions than I was typically accustomed to doing. And so I had to find an alternative for myself to feel like I was still being able to contribute. So I got more into education. And again, that's where Scott and I connected, because I enjoy doing the education about this holistic kind of environment.
I love that. Well, let's go with Scott. Scott Henry is the founder of the Holistic Zone, the creator and the founder of the Holistic Zone, right?
Correct.
Can you tell us about you?
Yeah. What happened was about 5 years ago, I was living in Southern California, And a friend of mine said, hey, I have something that I really want you to check out. And I said, sure, what is it? And he goes, you look like the epitome of health. I go, well, I'm having a problem with sleeping. And he goes, well, I'll tell you what, why don't you try this thing today? And then let's talk tomorrow and see what it does. So what happened was, I was taking an over-the-counter medication called Simply Sleep. And I didn't take it that day. I went on the Bemer and I almost fell asleep immediately when I was on it, because what it does is it increases the blood flow and oxygen level to your body. Well, what happened was he called me the next day and he said, hey, how'd you sleep? I slept great. I went to bed like 9:30, woke up at 6. He goes, will you try this thing for 5 consecutive days? And I said, I'd be happy to. And so what happened was, I saw each day improvement in my sleep, and I noticed that my mental clarity was getting better and better. I've always been pretty sharp about a lot of things, but I felt my mental clarity was doing well. And so at the end of 5 days, he said, I would you be interested in doing this? I said, I don't know what you're talking about, but the thing is, I'm always about 4 H's: help, 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 help. And if you can do those 4 things, that's what you're on this earth for, is to really, and Rick Warren is my pastor. If you know anything about Rick Warren, he's a wonderful human being. And so basically what I said, how much is this device? He told me. I said, here's my credit card. And that's how I really got involved with it. And then what happened was I saw a lot of opportunities in the New England area. I moved to Portsmouth. That's how I met Monty. And one of the things that really, I guess, hurt more than anything a lot of people was COVID.
Right.
And that was right about when COVID started, when we met. And so that has when people can't come to your office or they can't do anything, that really, but now we have new opportunities. And for something that, look, people say to me, how does this work? I said, well, it's going to increase the blood flow and the oxygen levels. It's going to help you do so many things. But when you have, a contract with the NFL Alumni Players Association, when you have a contract with NASA, some of the brightest people in the world work for that organization. All right. When you have Class 2 cleared ability through the FDA, that gives immediate credibility. And when you do PubMed.gov and you look at what Bemer can do to help so many people, and the thing is, I say, hey, if you give it a fair opportunity, but the thing is, Gloria, and Monty and I talk about this all the time, is everybody is different. Gloria, you're different from Monty. I'm different from you, Gloria. Everybody's different. So the thing is, if you give it the fair opportunity, which we'll talk about here this afternoon, you'll see how it works. And it works pretty much, when you say, Monty, for everybody.
It does do something for everybody. It doesn't necessarily do it sometimes as quickly as people would like it to.
Right.
And that is, and it is not something that you can see, feel, smell, touch. It is something that is just there, and you have to have faith that it is going to be helpful for you. But it is something that can be useful to everybody. There are some clinical things that we know it does. Clinically, the first FDA approval that they got was for bone healing. And so they showed that that if you have a fracture, particularly a difficult fracture, that the use of the electromagnetic waves increased the healing process. And then it went on from other things from there. And I personally, in relation to the healing process, just had a full hip replacement. And when I went in for my 5-week checkup, the physician said to me, your healing is farther ahead than I expected it to be. especially given the fact I'm 76 years old. So I don't know
Wow.
how slow he expected it to go, but I was ahead of where he had anticipated it would be. And unfortunately, he had no clue about pulse electromagnetic field. And so I had to educate him as to what I had been doing. But it is, there, different people can use it for sleep, as Scott alluded to. I liken it to, and you use the term exercise. It exercises your circulation
Right.
without you having to do much of anything, because it does it naturally through these pulse waves making your cells work. And it's the same pulse wave that you would get if you were walking on the beach barefoot, because the earth has a electromagnetic pulse. And the problem is that with modern technology, we aren't walking barefoot on the beach anymore. We don't even walk on the ground half the time, where young people are wearing heels, soles of their shoes that are 3 inches thick, and they're on cement floors. So they're not getting the benefit of that natural pulsation that comes up from the earth. So we need to introduce that back to people in a way that is manageable for them.
How this device will help people with depression or anxiety or PTSD?
How does it help with anxiety, depression,
Yeah.
and PTSD?
Yeah.
Well, what it does is that it increases, and I don't want to get too technical,
Right.
but it increases the way your body uses ATP, which is what makes energy. So as the electrical impulses go into the body, and the beauty of this is it can go through any part of the body, it will make each and every cell of your body function at its maximum. The mitochondria, which is the little workhorse in there, the electrical impulses will make it work. It will produce ATP. ATP is your power for your whole body, and it causes you to get more oxygen into the cells, get rid of waste products. That decreases inflammation, and inflammation decreases discomfort. Now, with anxiety, depression, and PTSD, we have a term that's called brain pain. And what that means is that your body, as a sufferer from either the PTSD trauma or whatever is causing the depression, it causes you to have some type of pain. It may not be what we traditionally think of pain as a ouch, that hurt me kind of thing, but your body responds in the same way as it would if it had had the ouch. But it's in the brain, it makes your brain not use the chemicals that are in the brain that make you happy or sad or whatever. They're not functioning correctly. They're an imbalance. And so because your body has been bombarded with this brain pain, we need to help eliminate that. And the beauty of the electropulse is that it will go across what we call the brain-blood barrier. In other words, it will go into the brain and be able to work on the cells of the brain just like it works on the cells of the muscles or the bones or anything else. Whereas medications won't. They often don't cross the brain-blood barrier because the brain has a certain protective mechanism against those kinds of things. So some of the medications that we put people on when they have depression or PTSD don't work. Right. They just can't work because they can't get to where they need to be. But with the electromagnetic pulsing, it makes your tissues and your blood cells work the way they're supposed to be. It gets rid of the inflammation. And inflammation, you hear the word inflammation and immediately you think of redness and swelling and things like that. Inflammation isn't always just that. Inflammation is just irritation. And irritation of waste products that are in your body are what cause the abnormal behaviors that you sometimes will have. And so with somebody with the PTSD, they started using it for depression, and they found that, and they started using it a lot with PTSD.
Right.
They found that 20 minutes a day on a electromagnetic mat where you just lie there for 20 minutes, they were seeing improvement in the moods and abilities to cope and the decrease in the anxiety of people with PTSD. And it didn't, unfortunately, this is an awful thing to say. PTSD is not a new phenomenon.
No.
It is, in fact, there are probably more PTSD people in the domestic world, women who have been raped, children who have been abused, people who have partners that verbally abuse them. That's all types of PTSD.
Right.
We didn't start paying attention until we had our soldiers coming back from Afghanistan and Iraq, and then we recognized they had the problem. But we had the problem back in World War I, World War II, Korea, all of those times. But we also had it for the ladies who stayed at home and took care of the families or had issues that happened in the families. So it's sad that it took something so dramatic to make it become apparent. But now they really are doing a lot of studies on it. And they know that if they can stimulate with a low-level electromagnetic pulse, they can change some of that brain pain and help with PTSD.
Monty, you touched a subject very, very good on it, on the PTSD, because PTSD before, people think that was only related for the soldiers and people who goes to war.
Right.
And you just mentioned something very important, that a lot of people have PTSD already, but also globally, all of us, we have PTSD after the pandemic.
Absolutely.
Because
Absolutely.
it's what it is. So people don't understand. I've been talking about this already for 3 years.
Yes.
And when I start talking about it, about depression inside PTSD, they call me crazy that how I'm going to talk about my emotions. And I said, well, when we going to start talking about this? When we going to be able to heal when we hear other stories, and not like, shh, you have PTSD, don't say anything, because they're not going to hire you. You're not going to be able to get a partner, or everything was like in silence. You cannot be successful because you was having depression or anxiety, PTSD. It was a complete secret and was isolated in one corner. If you have PTSD, like you don't function. And even sometimes, not to go deeper, they give you disability because you cannot function. And yes, there are severe cases, of course, but also there's a lot of people, normal people, that function the right way, is have their moments in the time that we get triggered and we can be acting in a way that we don't know because we have a trauma.
Right. Because you have that trigger that turns it off.
Right.
I can just, again, I can use myself as an example.
Right.
I did go to Desert Storm as a Army nurse, and I did not see any battle or anything of that nature. But and it was only, now Desert Storm was what, 30 years ago. It was only just recently that I finally recognized what caused me to have PTSD symptoms. When we were getting prepared to go overseas, I was at a military base in Georgia, and through our training, one of the things they had us do was go to the theater, the base theater, and we had to watch, and we did this all morning long, watch World War II movies about goats and canaries getting subjected to gas and watching these goats and canaries die. And then the next day, we went to the gas chambers where we had to practice putting on what's called a mop suit. It's a special suit that you wear and a gas mask. And we had to go into this chamber and take our gas mask off and say our social security number. Well, it wasn't until I can remember the day vividly. 2 years ago, I was giving someone a Bemer treatment, and we were talking to he and his partner about something, and we were talking about theaters. And it was like this little light went off in my head, and I said, all of a sudden, I realized why I don't like to go to the movies. I used to love going to the movies, but I didn't like sitting in the theater and watching what I was anticipating, anticipating goats and canaries being gassed.
Right.
And it was like, oh my God, that, and I didn't see any quote battle, but I have, there are triggers that trigger me off and get me to where I have my brain pain. And that's one of my triggers is theaters. I can't go into a theater, especially if it's a movie about war. I could probably go to a comedy now, but it's very interesting because I came back and everybody says, well, you were a nurse. You were delivering babies while you were over there. Well, yes, that's what I was doing, but I was anticipating being a goat or a canary the whole time I was there, because of scuds and things like that. So it's just very interesting. That's such a simple thing to have be something that can cause such emotional trauma. And it's the kind of thing that you don't even recognize until all of a sudden something clicks and you go, oh, that's why, kind of thing. And so for like young women who have been abused physically, emotionally, I mean, there are a lot of women who nobody ever touches them, but they are verbally abused.
Verbal abuse.
And that is, that's PTSD. So if we can help them by teaching them how to relax, how to identify, some of it's not all going to be Bemer work, but certainly the greater part of it is. But if you can figure out what your triggers are and how you can deal with those triggers, now they're dealing with tapping and things like that to help also. But to use the pulse electromagnetic field to allow your body to get into a state of relaxation. It allows your body to get into, when you're going to sleep, to get into delta sleep, because a lot of people with PTSD can't achieve delta sleep. So they never really get a good night's sleep. And so that's one of the things that the Bemer does for you. It helps you to get yourself to where you come down and you get into that deeper sleep and get a good night's sleep. And for some of the soldiers, that was the thing, when they were over in Iraq or even Vietnam, they couldn't sleep. You can't sleep when you're always on alert.
Right.
And then they come home and they can't sleep. So if we can help them to learn how to sleep again, there we go. We've done it.
Now that you're talking and I was imagining the device, for example, there are a lot of families that struggle to see somebody in the family that have depression. And when a person have depression, it's closed, they don't want to talk to anybody, and it's done deal. They don't want to know anything about it. And I was thinking maybe the family can maybe get this device, put it at home, and say why you don't lay down in that device and get some sleep. It's not telling that person that is depressed this is gonna be better for your depression, but go and lay down in that bed and see how you feel. And in that way, in the same way for the people who have anxiety. Imagine you go into an episode with anxiety, and you have the device at home, and you go lay down because you know that you have that. You know
Yeah.
you are conscious that you have it, that episode, and go lay down and get a sleep. Go to fall to sleep. So that is like a way to train your body to relax.
Right. Well, and the other family members can. This is kind of
This is something like a rental thing we want to
Yeah.
talk about. Yeah.
that you can do that through the other kind of like the back door, if you will, where if somebody else in the family has some kind of an issue that can be helped with the PEMF. I mean, if you tell us a condition, something, I'm trying to think, problems with your intestines, we can show you how using the PEMF might be able to help with your digestive issues. Well, if somebody in the family has digestive issues, you think about the PEMF as being a wellness device, and it should be a wellness device for everybody in the family. And everybody in the family might be using it for totally different reasons.
Right.
But it's going to help everybody. And that can be the way that the person who has the PTSD can kind of be brought in, rather than saying, if you use this, you're going to feel better. Because unfortunately, it's going to take time for them to feel better. So if they use it once or twice and they don't feel better, they're going to say, that's not for me. So it has to be available to people in such a way that they can use it without it having that stigma of being a PTSD cure.
Or going to a doctor's office, or going to a facility, or going to a treatment center. You can have the ability to have these in your own home.
Right.
And whether it's grandma and grandpa, mom and dad, the kids, neighbors, they can all use it. And most everybody will see some type of improvement.
Yeah. There are very few people who cannot use it.
Can you tell us who are not?
I'm sorry.
Can you tell us who cannot use it?
The people who cannot use it are.
I lose them. Let's see if they come back. There you go.
There we are. The people with any kind of a pump in their body, like an insulin pump, they cannot use it because the electronics will get distorted. Pacemakers, the electronics will get distorted. Nerve stimulators, those are the primary things that cannot use it. Pregnancy, there isn't. It's one of those kind of things that they suggest you not do it during pregnancy. But there are some providers who have used them during pregnancy. It's not something that is necessarily recommended. But the absolute that you cannot do it is those three things. Plus anybody who has a deep vein thrombosis, if somebody has a blood clot in their leg or something like that. But in Europe, they use it post-operatively after surgery to help people recover faster. Right. And there again, it's a recovery both from the circulation, recovering the wound, but also from helping the patient sleep.
Gloria, part of the situation in the United States, this is still relatively new. Bemer is only 20 years old, and it's only really been in the United States, 10, 12 years. And most doctors, when you talk to them, they say, hey, Scott, tell me about this. I go, hey, wait a minute. When you have FDA, the only FDA class, 2 cleared device in the United States, when you have NASA, when you have the NFL, we have all these things, deep tissue massages, it goes deeper into all your body than almost anything. That's why it's such a revolutionary device. Mm-hmm. And doctors will say, and when they see the information, and I actually say, hey, let's try it in, let's say, a 5-day or 2-week treatment plan with some of your patients or whatever, and you try it yourself, they're going to say, wow, this really does work.
Yeah.
And that's really, it's just the continuing education of like what we're talking about here, that Monty's doing such a great job describing, really post-traumatic stress disorder, but really for almost anything, how it assists so many people.
Well, it's like you guys in the video say that this is the most important thing is the river of life. The river of life is our blood, our oxygen that goes through the whole body. And I also saw that we have 74,000 miles of
blood vessels. And actually, if you stop to think about it, that's a lot of mileage for your heart to work on. So when you get down to the capillaries, there are little pumps at the beginnings and ends of the capillary beds. And what the electromagnetic pulse does is it stimulates those so that the blood goes through those little capillaries more efficiently. And unfortunately, as we age, those little pumps age. And so that's why we have organs that start to be less efficient in what they do, because the blood doesn't get circulated to them as efficiently. So that's why we call this a wellness device, because what it's going to do is it's going to make your whole body work better, more efficiently for longer. And I hate the term anti-aging. I like the term aging gracefully.
Right.
Because it helps your tissue to not age as rapidly.
I have another question. That people who have a stent in their body, they can use the device?
If they have what?
A stent.
A stent, yes, they can have it if they have a stent. It's when it's an electrical implant. Okay. Yeah, no, actually with the stent, it would be good because it's going to increase the circulation. And that's what the stent is trying to do.
Okay, what about kids? What is the age
if a family has? There is no age. We've seen people from 3 to 93, Gloria.
From 3 to 93.
Yeah, there's no age limit because we all, if you have a child who has some type of a chronic illness, why should they not be able to take advantage of something like this that might help them through that chronic illness?
And also one thing, Gloria, we have not spent any time on because we've been talking about people, but this also helps your animals, because so many people say, God, I wish I could do something for my dog, my cat, my horse, whatever it may be. And we could do another show on this, because I know we have a certain amount of time here today, but I will give you a real life scenario. Is my oldest son, he has a Rottweiler, and she was about 2 years old at the time and needed a hip replacement. Well, I said to Matt, I said, hey, you know what? Let's put Daisy, that's the dog's name, on the Bemer. And what happened is that Matt would take Daisy to the doctor, and the doctor would say, Matt, I probably should use but next time we'll use my laptop. Yeah.
That's fine.
But
that's fine.
What happened is that Matt, the doctor said, Matt, how is Daisy doing so well? I can't believe. He said, well, my dad has this wellness or whatever. He said, will you have your dad call me? So I went in there, saw the doctor, and he goes, this is phenomenal, because this dog healed so much quicker because of this device than natural ways. And that's why I tell people, I say, hey, you don't need to take pills. You don't need to take medicines. You don't need to do if you could heal yourself naturally, wouldn't you want to do that?
Yes. And you know how much money and time you would do healing that way?
Yeah.
As I call it, Big Pharma doesn't like me too much.
Right.
Because the thing is that they're constantly looking at how they can help people, but how they can help make money. And that's dead presidents. And basically what this device is doing a lot of things to help people naturally. And as I say, not just people, but yeah, your animals, your pets, whatever it may be as well.
Yeah, I saw in the video that you guys sent me that there's a very good, they're like very good with horses. Like all the
Yes.
question people that have horses, they all have the blanket of this Bemer. And also they help them, the horses, to be better. And then when they have an injury in one of their legs, they put the
Yeah.
device in their legs, and there's like
Gloria,
phenomenal.
as a matter of fact, Monty's sister owns a Bemer horse set.
Yeah, and she
because she owns a horse.
She has a horse, and it has helped him tremendously. So, and we've actually used it on our dogs, you know. So it's just, there's so many. I mean, let's face it, the electromagnetic pulsation is around us. We just have to harness it and use it correctly.
Right. I'm amazed with this device, and when I saw the video and read about it, because I always like to study before my shows to see what I'm talking about. It was like, wow, this device will help a lot of people that they need it, that they probably want to get out from the medication, because also when you take medication are destroying another parts of your body in a way.
Right.
And then you getting better from your heart, but you getting bad from your liver, and so
No, you're absolutely, the medications are not without their problems.
And as I say to people, what don't you understand about natural?
Right. And there are no there are no ill effects of using. You cannot use it too much. You can't get too much of the pulsation.
Right.
So you're just doing what your body does naturally. You're just helping it a little bit.
I hear in the video that is 8 minutes in the morning and 8 minutes in the afternoon.
Right.
Evening.
Right. And that's what we call the maintenance. That's kind of like keeps your body tuned, if you will. And then during the day, if you have any kind of specific discomforts, shoulder pain, knee pain, whatever, those discomforts can be addressed by using it for that area specifically. There's the mat that you lay on for the 8 minutes, and then there are other components, applications that you can use, to help with the other parts of your body.
Okay, so when a person buy the device, that person need to go like more than 8 minutes so that it can feel the treatment, and then the maintenance, or how it works when a person gets the device for the first
8
time.
minutes is the same twice a day. What's different is how intense those 8 minutes are. And we typically start very low and slow, and that's just because we're just starting to get your body doing things, and we don't want to bombard it too quickly.
Right.
So you go slow and work your way up, and gradually you increase your intensity, which will increase the circulation, that gets you to a maintenance level, if you will. And then you stay at that maintenance level. You kind of go back and forth just so your body doesn't become acclimated to one level. So you get to, say, a level 6, and you drop down 2 levels for a week, and then you go back up, and then you go back. And that's just to keep the stimulation of the nerve endings the way they should be.
Gloria, excuse me, Monty, I equate it, you live in South Florida, correct, Gloria?
Yes.
I equate it to 95 and 595 and Miami-Dade and Broward counties. And where, if you look at the video, and I think you've probably seen this on our website, is where it's like, I call it like 95, 595 at the, first, before you even go on this device, your blood flow is just creeping along like it's like 7:30 in the morning or 5 o'clock in the afternoon there in South Florida. But once you've been on this device for 8 minutes, your blood flow is like, it's like driving about 2 o'clock in the morning, on 595 or 95 there in South Florida, because your blood flow is increasing. And that's how we always look at it like that.
Wow, I think the blood is like you guys said in the video, the river of life. Whereas
Yeah.
that's the oxygen supply, and that's why there's a lot of meditation. They use the breathing because the breathing is the healing of is the in the entrance of the oxygen to get to your blood and to be able to circulate and relax all your body. So I love this device. So people, where they can reach you guys to go more deeper into this, to know more about this
Okay.
device. I put here your Facebook is like a,
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
took me through your
The
website.
website is scotthenrysholisticzone.com. And if you want to try and reach me, it's Scott at scotthenrysholisticzone.com, or you can reach Monty at Monte Monte at scotthenrysholisticzone.com as well.
I also put that information on the description of the episode today.
Thank you.
So, so people who wants to reach up to them, uh, there's all the description below, and also I'm here putting in the screen the website. This is the website is for people who's listening to us. Is www.scotthenryholisticzone.
Dot
So
com.
.com. So that's the website for them. So what else you guys want to add today for this podcast? So any kind of message for the people who wants to know about this Bemer?
Well, if you are interested, we can talk about challenges of like 5 days. We can talk about rentals, and obviously we can talk about purchasing. And so we're available at those different ways of getting in touch with us, and we can see what we can do to help you find a way to be able to get involved with some therapy and see if we can't get one of these in everybody's home.
Yep. Gloria, hey, thank you so much for the opportunity. But I will say this: give it a
Yes.
try. It works. It really does. And I mean, and the thing is, maybe your doctor doesn't know about it. Monty and I, or whatever, we'd love to talk to that doctor. Give them the facts. Give them the videos, like you've seen some of the stuff from PubMed.gov. And really, as I say, when you have 5 patents, when you have FDA approval, NFL contracts, NASA contracts, yeah, all these things that, hey, they can't be smoke and mirrors.
Right. But I have another question before we go. I didn't know that you also can rent this device.
Yes.
Yes.
And how that works, because I know buying you buy and you buy, but renting, how how
Rental normally leads to a purchase because somebody's in the comfort of their home. They're able to have their family members, loved ones, neighbor, whatever it may be. And so, yes, if somebody does want to try and rent one, they can contact us as well.
awesome. And they contact you nationwide, like any place in the states, they contact you and you guys send the
We can
device
we
where the
can find
person
a way
is.
for them to get one to rent.
Exactly. If it's not, yes.
That's great. Okay, so before we go, I want Monty, and then after Monty, Scott, to give us a phrase for somebody that trying to take their lives away today.
To give them what?
A phrase or
Oh,
a
a
word.
phrase.
Yes, a phrase or a word for a person who's thinking to take their life away.
Faith. Have faith that they can do it.
That's well stated. I can't say. I think that's wonderful.
All right. So thank you so much to be today here in my podcast. I know this is not going to be the first one. It's going to be many more later on so people can know more about this device. And thank you both to be here in Unbreakable Life with Glory, the podcast.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us, Gloria. Have a nice day. Thank you
You
again.
too. Thank you.
Take
Bye
care.
bye.
Good day, everybody.
Bye-bye.
You
Bye
too.
now.
Bye bye. Well, here there's another beautiful episode, completely different at what I do. But I said, you know what? I want to put something and mix a little bit of another way to heal better, another way more holistic and natural to heal, because I know therapy works, coaching works, a lot of things works, but also not all the things works for everybody, and some people need more help, like this kind of devices, to help to achieve better sleep, to feel better, because when you sleep very well is when you be able more to feel more energy to go and work better and exercise better, when you have a great night to sleep, a great night sleep. And with this device, and you can achieve that, you can achieve a lot of healing in your body and in your mind. So thank you so much, everybody, to be here today. Thank you to be on Unbreakable Life with Glory, the podcast, where we talk about depression, anxiety, PTSD, holistic way, natural way to always make you feel better. And here, Gloria Goldberg. And to remember to subscribe, like, and share, that somebody out there they may need this device, and you guys know that there's a device that can help people in a lot of ways. And thank you so much for the Facebook user that he said thank you for everything you do. Thank you, my dear. Thank you, my love, because what I do is with a lot of love and with a lot of compassion for people that are suffering right now, and I want them to feel better and to heal as soon as possible, like I've been doing for a lot of years. So thank you so much, everybody. Have a wonderful day. See you next Wednesday. And one thing I want to say before I go, I love you all. Bye-bye.